Hey y'all, welcome back. Well, tonight is a bunch of prep work. My Monster Miata axle kit should be here tomorrow sometime, and I've got a bunch of things to do to get ready. I borrowed a welder from work, and I got to get this subframe cleaned up. I got to get this thing cracked open and get ready for the gear swap. It's got 327s in it. I'm going to throw the 308s in, which are still in the car right now. And I'm trying to get everything else knocked out and ready to go before I pull the diff out of the other car and crack that one open. So I gotta get these hubs off, well, this one shaft, and get that one apart and get that inner part that's stuck inside there out. I'm gonna stitch weld this subframe up. Probably try and do that tonight. It's not a whole lot of work. Just get it nice and cleaned up. It's a little rusty, it's a little surface rust and it's dirty. Got to do that. And there's a handful of other things. Essentially, I have to obviously rebuild another set of axles, weld that diff in. I got to change the diff flange out. I got to set the diff up. I got a few bearings here. I'm going to change the side bearings out on the carrier, and I got a pinion bearing. And there's a couple other things I have to take care of while I have the car up in the air. I'm going to try to put some heat shielding on the gas tank. I need to plug my reverse light into the reverse switch because I have it hooked in the neutral safety switch right now. So it comes on in every single gear. So I just took the bulbs out for now until I could get it back on jack stands. And I'm going to have to redo the exhaust. Pretty positive I'm going to have to do that. I don't think I could be lucky and that would end up in the right spot, but basically it comes out like right behind the Explorer diff, so I don't think that I'm going to get away with being able to use it as it is because, yeah, this mounts at the bottom, so it's going to run right into it. So we'll see how that goes when we get to that part, but I'm definitely going to have to remake that. So hopefully that won't be too hard. Maybe I can just throw a couple ply cuts in it and weld it back up. I'm going to try to knock all of this stuff out this weekend. It's Friday night right now. Axles will be in the mail sometime tomorrow. I don't know when. So we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to get this done before it gets really cold. And I really want to do some sweet skids and some sick burnies on my birthday, which is December 25th. And like 15 days. I think today's the 10th. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm about to crack this thing open, let it drain, and get it ready for a gear change. We'll see how far we get on that tonight and just as many things as I can knock out. So we'll check back with you here in a little bit. Okay, a little update on what I've done so far. I got the CVs off the old shafts, which was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. And I made a little paperweight. Look at that, isn't that cute? That's going to be really great for holding papers down. That's about all it's good for now. And you can see the little twist in it, where it twisted right at that snap ring. So that's my little paperweight. But I got the open carrier out with the 327s. That's out. And I put the 28 spline in just for mock-up. So I was worried about these retaining clips fitting in these side gears because I'm pretty sure that this carrier came out of a solid axle car. The guy said it was out of a 2002, and I asked him if it was IRS. I said I just wanted to know. I'll buy it regardless of if it's solid axle or not because I'll make it work, but he never told me if it was IRS or solid axle. He just said it came out of an 02. I could get this side to fit in no problem, lock in, and I can pop it back out, but this side didn't want to go in. Okay, so the CV was bottoming out on the pin in the middle, so I just took it on the grinding wheel a little bit, and I just gave it a little kiss right here, and now it goes in, locks in, no problem, perfect. And I can just hit on it with a screwdriver and a hammer and it'll pop right out. So we're good to go on that. Just wanted to test fit that and eliminate the option for it to screw up when I'm trying to put it in the car. So we're trying some prior proper planning on this one. So far so good. And this is the other shaft. As you can see, it's fine. Well, appears to be fine. splines didn't twist at all on this one, so I'm not sure why the shaft broke on the driver's side twice with 2 sets of axles and really didn't hurt the passenger side. I don't know what's going on there, but hopefully throwing all new parts at it, it's going to fix this entire issue. That's the plan, at least. So I've got one maybe good. I don't know if I should call it good or not because it still would probably break, but I have one intact Explorer to V6 T-Bird outer shaft. So I gotta clean this thing up still, and I'm gonna keep trying to get things ready to go. So hopefully I can knock this out tomorrow when all my parts get here. So I went and pressure washed the subframe and decided I was just gonna go ahead and knock the stitch welding out real quick. But right off the bat, I mean, I'm playing with the settings, I'm trying to get used to a decent welder now that I've gotten used to that thing over there for the past 2 years or so. I feel like my welding skills have depreciated from just doing what I had to do to get that thing to work. But I started playing with the voltage and started tacking right here, and it doesn't look the greatest. It's okay, but I turned the voltage down. It got a little bit better. But then I decided, let's see what happens if we just run a little quick mini bead throughout here, and it actually doesn't look half bad. It doesn't splatter that much, so I kept it steady all the way down through here. So hopefully this is going to turn out a lot better with this welder. That's what it's looking like so far. I still have to practice, you know, joining 2 actual pieces together and running a clean bead, like an actual bigger bead, but trying to figure out which technique I want to use. But so far, so good. I'm going to finish stitching this up. It doesn't look too bad. And I have some better wire coming tomorrow that I'm going to put in here that hopefully will help it a little bit more. Well, I like how this is turning out so far. Who knew that a better welder would have made you a better welder? And, I mean, you know, it's not the greatest, but it's a nice, clean seam all the way across. So, I think that this is going to turn out a lot better than any of the last subframes. They look so horrible. Like, I swore, like, I wasn't a horrible welder. Like, I'm not good, but I can make something look halfway decent. It's just that thing sucked. So that's really not too bad so far. Of course, I'm just, you know, doing a little stitch weld deal. But I got the thing stitch welded, and that was way faster than it would have took with the other one. So hopefully this will go nice, quick, and easy, and painless. We'll see how that goes, depending on what time this stuff shows up in the mail tomorrow. And I guess that about wraps it up for tonight. I've done pretty much everything that I can do for the most part. So we'll check back in with you tomorrow. Well, unfortunately, my package didn't arrive today. It said it was put on the truck this morning, but hasn't showed up, and unfortunately they have until Monday to deliver it. It was supposed to be here early. I don't understand why it's on the truck at 6 o'clock this morning. Didn't show up, but whatever. We still got other things that we can do. So this is out of the car. I'm going to go ahead and swap the gear set over and get that all set up and take care of a couple things I've been needing to take care of under the car. I got this heat wrap deal I'm going to try to put on the gas tank. It's not very much at all. If that makes a difference at all, we'll find out. I'm hoping it's going to help a little bit. Gas is just getting pretty hot when I drive around for a while. Like, it was kind of boiling back out of it after I drove around for 5 hours last weekend. So, and it's weird how this thing looks now. It's kind of crazy that this thing was just a little wrecked shell like 8 months ago and an idea in my head, and now it looks weird with the whole rear end taken out. That's pretty cool. It's kind of crazy how you can get used to things being a thing so fast, but that's pretty cool. So I still have to change the flange out on the drive shaft too. I can do that. I really wish that my diff mounts were here so I could start working on the exhaust. I only have this welder for tomorrow. I mean, I'm sure I could still use it Monday or whatever, whenever it comes in, but I was trying to get all this knocked out this weekend. But it is what it is. Though we'll still be here, and I have plenty of time to meet my deadline of December 25th for me to do some donuts and sweet skids and burnouts on my birthday, so hopefully it'll show up tomorrow and we can make some progress on it, but until then I'm going to take care of a bunch of little things and try to tidy everything up. Okay, well, FedEx sucks. Not going to go into detail about it, but my package finally showed up. It is like 8 o'clock on Sunday night. So I don't know how much stuff I'm going to get done tonight. I got to work at 8 in the morning. So I guess I'm just going to at least try to mock things up. But otherwise, I knocked a bunch of other things out last night. I got this together, which was a pain to set up. It was really tight, and I had to play around with different shims and stuff. But I got that together, and did a couple of things under the car. A little bit of heat shield on the gas tank. Nothing too major. But here's the axles, and I mean, they look great. They really do. And I mean, these things are pretty darn heavy for what they are. I mean, look at that. That's a heavy little piece of metal. And then we got the mounts here. I'm gonna do a little grinding on the subframe over here, and I guess we'll get this thing tacked in and just see where it needs to be. We'll check back here in a minute. Well, I'm pretty sure I got this where I want it. So there's only a few pictures I got to go off of, which, I mean, it's really not that hard. These mounts fit in here really well. It's almost as if it was meant to be. But there's just a couple little holes on the subframe you measure off of. It's supposed to be 4 inches from the passenger side. You go off of this hole right here from the end of the plate, 4 inches from there to there. There was no actual measurement for the back part, but it just had dots drawn to these 2 little holes right here on each side, and then it had a mark with a C, I assume, for center. There's a little notch in this deal, so I just measured from side to side, and I put it there. And then I tacked it in, and the holes were a little bit off on the mount. And this has a little play side to side, so you just kind of find the happy medium of it. And I cut it back out. I cut the tacks off, and I pretty much just put it in here and held it, and then I tacked it in. But I measured from these points, all 4 corners on here, which obviously these can get a little bit bent, but I just picked a center point in the diff, and I measured side to side on each side, and everything seems to be in the right place. The only thing that's got me a little skeptical is I'm going from, when I measure from the end of the diff, I just pick a spot from here, and I'm measuring to these little posts where the original diff was mounted to. It's like a 1/4 inch to one side, which I don't think that's going to make a big difference regardless. I mean, the CV axles will absorb that. But I'm just wondering why it's not exactly centered. Maybe it is, and I don't know. The stock diff is offset a little bit, I'm not sure. I tried to go from right here, and it's still off a little bit, but at the same time, those can get bent. And then I also went from where the control arm was. But if I just measure from these corners, I mean, it seems pretty centered for the most part. So maybe that's just how it's supposed to be. Obviously, a 1/4 inch isn't that big of a deal. I think it'll be fine. But I think I have it where I want to go ahead and burn it in the rest of the way. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I don't know. I guess I'm going to burn it in, and we'll find out once we get it all together if it's where it needs to be. See, I told you it wasn't that bad of a welder. Just my welder sucked. So, I mean, that's not, the best welds in the world, but that's way better than what that was doing over there. That welder is a lot better. So far, I haven't turned out too bad. It looks a whole lot better than what I was doing before with that other one. So, yeah. Alright, so now I'm going to burn in the front side and see how everything lines up still. Well, it's home. That's where it lives now. Welds didn't turn out too bad. I'm happy with that. Like I said, I ain't the best welder in the world, but I ain't as bad as those other welds were. Those were bad. Like, I almost didn't even want to put them in a video. But, like I said, that was the welder's fault, not mine. And I was just working with what I had, man. All in all, it looks pretty good. I still got that, it's just a little 1/4 inch difference side to side, which is not a big deal, but, I'm going to stress over everything. I've been through enough with this. Like, after this is all said and done, like with all the mini axles and all this stuff I got all over the place, I'm like $2,000 into this rear end setup. So, but you know, it looks good. This rear mount, I don't know if it's just my subframe's a little off or something, but it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't look perfect. Like, this side looks back a little bit than that side, but the holes line up perfect. So, I don't know, I guess that's just in the subframe. Obviously, you can only go off of so much of it. I mean, I figure I should know by now what part of it's square and what's not, but, you know, they're all going to be a little bit different. This one, I don't know if this makes any difference or not, but this one came out of a 93, so... but it's there. It's where it's going to be. Hopefully permanently. I mean, I really don't see why not. If version 1 and 2 worked out, this should work out fine. You know, knock on wood. She's in there, and it is currently 10:50. So... unfortunately, I still have to go home, take a shower, and get ready for bed so I can go to work bright and early in like 9 hours. So, really wish I could stay up and just keep banging this out, but the majority of it's out of the way. Just got to put the axles together, those back in the car, and then cut up the exhaust and make it fit. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to hit right here now. I'm pretty sure it will. It might not hit there, but it's definitely going to hit right here. So, I have the exhaust coming through here, and then it takes a sharp turn, like right where that mount's going to be now. So, I think it's like literally like right there. Hopefully, I can just get away with extending it out a little bit. I don't know, I might redo the whole thing. It is close to the gas tank. We'll see how that goes. Luckily, I have the welder for a little bit longer. We'll get it figured out. This hasn't been as challenging as I thought it was going to be. One step closer. I just really want to take a moment to admire the beauty of these shafts. Look at these things. God, the camera does not do them justice. They look so nice. Yeah, I never thought a couple bars of metal would be so important to me in my life. At least not in a good way. So, for all the people out there rumoring that Martin just resplined stock axles, that's obviously not the case. These are way different. If you look at them juxtaposed, you can see that he eliminates the inner snap ring, and I guess it's just, or well, depending on what side we're looking at. So this side is kind of got a little bit of a lip on it, so that's the stop for the inner tripod bearing. And obviously, you know, it doesn't have these little pieces cut for the CV boot, and this is definitely a complete custom shaft, so you can see the little differences in them. I don't know, I might put these together tonight, I might save it. I don't know how much CV axle grease I feel like getting on myself right now. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, they are beautiful. Alright, well, I figure I need to stop and record something real quick. Obviously, I'm putting the subframe together right now, and I'm about to put on the knuckles. It's got those little spacers that you just stick down in there. It rides right inside of the seal. I'm just trying to bang this stuff out real quick. I got very little sleep today, and went to work for 8 hours, and got off and started doing this, and it's like almost 9 o'clock now, probably. So, trying to see how much stuff we can get done before 12 so I can go sleep and then go back to work and come and do this again tomorrow. But I'm about to throw this thing in and see how bad the exhaust is going to be and try to work on that, because I don't think I'm going to have the welder too much longer. But we're about to find out if everything fits. Oh, and I got the axles together almost. I left the boot clamps off so I can put them in and just see exactly where that inner tripod bearing is going to be, just for my peace of mind and to make sure everything's alright. Hopefully the next shot I'll have it in the car. Okay, well, I got it in, and I had to cut the exhaust up, but luckily I had a bunch of pie cuts left over, and I just pie cut my way over this way, and unintentionally got it pointing up. I just noticed that when I stood up, but I like it. It's cool. It's not too aggressive, and it still obviously comes out the side, but I'm with it. I'm just going to cut the bumper just a little tiny bit above that, but I like it pointing up. I think it actually looks pretty good. That's cool. So that worked out. So I'm going to finish weld this out, but it's in here. Axles are in, everything's installed the way it's supposed to be, and everything fits alright. That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's going to take a little bit to weld all these pie cuts up. Hopefully they stay in the spot they're supposed to be in. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward, a lot easier than expected. So all that's left after this is bleeding the brakes, but it's going to be too late to drive it. So that'll be tomorrow, unfortunately, but we're almost there. Alright, well, everything's back together. Diff fluid's in. I remember to do that, luckily. Exhaust is done. And I'm just going to start it up and make sure everything's alright before I put it on the ground. Check for leaks. The brakes are bled. I know I saw a little bit of water leaking from a hose the other day when I ran it for a second. I tightened it up, but we'll make sure that's not leaking and put it on the ground, and hopefully everything goes well. We'll find out. I'm so worried about something breaking. I've had too many sets of axles break, so let's run it for a second and make sure everything's alright. Alright, I guess I'm going to put it on the ground and see what happens. I'm not going to get footage of the first drive because I don't have anyone to go with me and record. And I don't even know if I have my action cam with me. No. But it doesn't get good footage anyways. So hopefully it doesn't break and it lasts long enough for me to find someone to ride with me and get some footage of it. So here goes nothing. Or a little over $1,000. I probably look like a dumbass, but that was fun. I couldn't see what I was doing. Well, so far so good. As you just saw, it did some sweet skids and some sick burnies, and I actually got to do some on my birthday. It was pretty awesome. So it's like, I don't know, a week and a half, almost 2 weeks later, and it's holding up fine so far. Knock on wood, but it should be alright. So far so good. So right now I'm working on a fuel issue. Another one of those 5-minute jobs that turned into 5 hours and it's still not fixed. But that's for another video if I decide to record it. We'll see how I'm feeling. But yeah, so she's a car now. She does burnouts. It can actually be called a drift car now. It does what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to wrap this one up here. And like always, I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see y'all in the next one. Later, y'all.